pleasure to speak to you. How are you?
I'm very good. Yeah, busy like preparing for the upcoming VOLA tour. So that's what I spend some of my time on at least.
It is an incredibly busy period of time, obviously, not just about the tour as well. Is there anything specifically though that's kind of really dominating your time at the moment?
Well, we are playing new songs for this tour, so I have to like figure out what guitar sounds I'm gonna use, and of
Yeah.
course learn to play the songs. uh, like for
How's that going?
it's going pretty good. Like in the studio, I of course like first sing and then I play guitar or the other way around. But I've like for these songs, I haven't done those two things at the same time, so I have to learn to do that so I don't make too many mistakes.
You're having fun with it though. I imagine it must be a lot of fun kind of just getting up to speed with these new tracks.
Yeah, it's nice to see them take shape and just like get into your muscle memory. Like it's amazing how fast they can sort of become comfortable. Also, just like rehearsing and then like maybe there's a week where you don't play, and but still after that it feels like it has sort of matured in your body, and it's
Even
easier
after a
after that
week.
week. Yeah, so it's all about like really like baking the cake for a long time, and yeah.
I love that term. The mindset then overall in VOLA right now, because of course we're making our way towards the all-important release of your incredible brand new album, Friend of a Phantom. So as a group, what's the mindset like? Are you all feeling very relaxed about it?
Yeah, I think we just look forward to it coming out. Like it's been, yeah, 3 years since our last album, and like many things have happened. Like the pandemic was here, and like my personal life has changed. I just had a little child 4 months ago. Um, so yeah, lots of changes, and we're just excited about this new chapter, and I can't wait to bring the songs to the road.
Well, congratulations, firstly, on becoming a father. It is, of course, as you know,
Thank
an
you.
incredibly life-changing an event.
Yes. Yeah. A bit less sleep than usual, but like all the other uh, like all the good things about it just totally outweighs the lack of sleep, so I'm all good.
I'm a parent to a 21-year-old. You know that people say it gets easier as they get older. They're lying to you. It never does.
Yeah. I'll keep that in mind.
Of course, a friend of a phantom. It is out on November 1st, 2024 via Mascot Records. It's a long and winding road to release that involves so much. Have you been enjoying the build to release, though? You know the tasks you have to do, the things you have to do as you make your way to release. Have you found it quite enjoyable?
Yeah, I like doing these interviews, for example. That's a nice part of sort of the all the work that we put into it. I think for me, like the most fun part is writing the songs,
Yeah.
because that's where you can really get creative and just, you know, uh, dive into the rabbit hole and just
See what comes
like
out.
spend 8 hours on an idea and see where it takes you. Um, so just that feeling of like this large borderless landscape that you can just explore as you want. That's really exciting, I think. Um, like the recording part is much more tough, I would say, because
Hmm.
it's about sort of translating what you have been creative about into something that people can listen to, and that means it's more about just hard labor instead of like building castles in your mind. And when you've done the like guitar take number 100, uh, it feels like you're not really a creative musician anymore. You're just
You're almost a machine.
uh, yeah, exactly. And like we like all the distorted parts that we create have four guitar layers, so that's why you can easily get up to 100. Um, so yeah, songwriting is number one for me, and I think touring number two, and then recording is somewhere down the list. But it's also gratifying. Like it's nice to hear the productions take shape, I think.
Yeah, getting those masters back right and hearing all that hard work. Just
Yeah,
oh,
yeah, exactly. It's also just getting it out of your own hands and sending it off to mix. That's a nice feeling.
of course, as well, the when we get to release day, and of course it's now out in the world, there's nothing else that can be done except listen and find out what people think. But early,
Yeah,
obviously, in the build, we get the release of the singles. And we've had a fabulous response to the singles that have been released so far. Does this fill you with a bit of confidence as to how the full album might be received?
yeah, I think so. Like I think there's a lot of diversity in the songs we've released so far.
Oh yeah.
Um, and I think that like mirrors quite well how the full album is. I think it's a very broad spectrum of moods. Um, so like if people enjoy the singles, I think they will enjoy the full album experience.
I 100% agree with that. In fact, I know that is 100% true. It's just absolutely mind-blowing to see the level of positive response because, of course, the internet and comments and feedback can often be varied and difficult. In this case, and I spent a lot of time earlier on trawling through the comments and the videos and YouTube, and I just to see if I could find a negative one. They don't really exist.
Yeah, we've been quite fortunate in that regard, I think. Um, but yeah, it's about being in the right mood when you go through comments because it's it can be it can change your your mood a bit if you read a negative comment. But I'm like if I'm really proud of what we created and I enjoy listening to it myself, like people can say almost anything. So that like feels like a strong shield I can hold up
Yeah.
if I'm proud of it myself.
Because you've got no doubts. You're not questioning whether or not something wasn't good enough. You know it was good.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So like it seems like a more fragile situation if I'm in doubt of myself and someone points that out. Then I can think, oh, maybe we should have done that differently. But like most of the time, I'm very confident in what we create, and I I feel like I can take whatever people write.
Well, for good reason as well. As a friend of a fan, it is an incredible release. And I spent a lot of time with it to this day, digging into it and getting to know it. And I look forward to continuing that because it is a far from a one and done kind of album. But I want to take you back to kind of the early days. It's time to follow up Witness, a much lauded album. What's the early thought process within the band, e.g., vision? Did you have a vision for what you wanted to do?
For this album,
For this album?
or just early on in our career.
No, for
For
this
this album, yeah,
specific album, yeah.
um, yeah. It's no, we actually really didn't have a specific vision. We had that for Witness because that was the first time we collaborated with Jacob Hansen, who mixed and mastered the album,
Hmm.
and he has this very specific sound, I think, that we sort of wrote the songs into. Um, so I spent a lot of time imagining what he could do to our sound, and that became a big motivation in terms of how the songs took shape. Um, but having gotten that out of our system, it felt like we needed to start somewhere else this time. And I was searching a lot in the beginning, and like reached some dead ends in terms of experimentation,
Hmm.
um, where I was trying too hard to go down a specific route,
Oh, interesting.
maybe making something sound futuristic, but like with the songwriting quality getting buried a bit in experimentation. Um, and eventually, I just decided that I wanted to write just the best songs I could, and I think the other guys felt the same way. So yeah, we just wrote whatever felt right, and that sort of became the vision along the way to write whatever felt right and to do that as good as we could.
It
And
sounds so simple, doesn't it?
yeah, it
Just
has
do
resulted
what
in a
feels
very
right.
diverse album, I think. Yeah, yeah, it's like we've never been afraid of our albums sounding like containing many different, like at least hints of different genres,
Hmm.
uh, um, because we, I guess, have a confidence in just that it will sound like Vola in the end. Anyways, like no matter what we do. So I think that's been our mindset on this album also.
It is really interesting to sort of see how you got to the state of mind where this album has come about. Because you said it almost seems like you were frustrated with the dead ends and not really finding your path. And then a more relaxed attitude results in
Yeah,
what you would end up building and writing. But as you kind of see, you're writing
yeah.
basically, you're writing from a more comfortable position and as a group. How do elements of life, your life, the band's life in general, start to affect? Did did you have any forced changes because of things in your personal life?
Sorry, I didn't get the last part. Sorry.
Was there anything that kind of forced your forced changes to your writing, but based out of your
Yeah.
personal lives?
Uh, well, like the pandemic definitely changed our way of writing, but
Of
that's
course.
more like a global phenomenon. Phenomenon. um, but yeah, because that happened, uh, uh, the touring for Witness became more fragmented, and so
Hmm.
the songwriting for this album became more fragmented. Like we couldn't just uh, um, like get done with the touring for Witness and then focus 100% on writing. We had to um, do these two things at the same time, sort of. Um, and I definitely prefer focusing on one task at a time.
Mm.
Um, so I think that made it more difficult to write uh, this album. Um, so yeah, it took some time getting used to that. It wasn't just about focusing 100% on creating it.
It is crazy to still think now of the pandemic having such an effect on your writing at the time. It feels
Yeah,
so much further away.
yes, that's true.
Okay, what
Yeah,
about?
it just pushed the touring. So yeah,
Hmm. Oh, well, I mean, I'm glad ultimately that
yeah,
you managed to find a balance that worked for you because we obviously have the album now and you were able to do some touring in and around that time period. Okay, but sticking to the writing of the new album, did you set yourself any creative boundaries? You know you've got to sound like Vola. You know what you do will sound like Vola. But was it kind of free and open?
Yeah, I think so. It's it's not something that generates ideas for us usually if we create too many dogmas. I think um, we haven't really experimented with it. Could be fun to try at some point, just to like write down some rules, for example.
Hmm.
Um, but it like it's still the best method for us, I think, to just allow anything, and then like our individual filters will hopefully um, like make the parts that make most sense come through at the end, so that it will sound like us.
I asked that
Um,
I asked that question with a certain level of trickery in it
so yeah,
because I've heard the album and I know just by listening to it that clearly there were no creative boundaries. That's the joy of not just listening to this album, but listening to Vola, knowing and having the faith in you that you don't do that, that there are no rules.
yeah, definitely, and it's something like I grew up on bands like Porcupine Tree, for example, and Opeth, like where it was okay to have an extremely quiet quiet part, and then a fragile and emotional, and then be brutal the next second. Um, it was okay to mix genres, so that has stuck with me, I think. And it's like in the other guys' approach as well when writing songs. So that's I think that's a big part of how we work creatively.
Talking about then how you work creatively. So, looking at the entire process of the creation of the new album, we're talking from beginning, the very first note, to the very end when you could do no more. What were your specific challenges for you personally? An area or something that happened that challenged you?
Yeah, it's like the pandemic that I mentioned earlier was a big thing,
Mhm.
and also like maybe lacking a vision was also made it more difficult, as we've talked about. Um, but I think apart from those two, it's like it felt quite smooth.
I'm glad to hear that
I
because
can
those.
feel if yeah,
Sorry, go on.
no, it's just like if I can put our demo on my iPhone and go for a walk and listen to it and be excited about it, and like having an urge to listen to it on repeat, like I'm happy. Um, so we create music for ourselves as music fans. 9 songs that are on the album. Um, so that that felt good, and we just rolled with it.
I am super pleased to hear that because the two things you talk about being challenging there, the pandemic and the lack of a vision, are significant. So to hear that the rest of it was such a smooth
Yeah,
process is good.
yeah, yeah, I think so.
Okay, let's turn that around then. So again, looking at the whole creative project from beginning to the very end, favorite moments. Did you have anything that stands out to you that you just absolutely loved doing this time around?
Um, yeah, I think we've incorporated some like influences that weren't really there before on earlier releases. like for example on a song like Paper Wolf, I really enjoyed playing the guitar in a different way. Um, that's maybe a bit more towards like Metallica, for example, than what we've done before. Um, I don't think I would have been able to play that riff if I hadn't practiced Master of Puppets as a teenager in my basement. So that was very fun. And then um, yeah, like experimenting with we have like guest vocal list on Cannibal. That was like really fun to try and have screams in our song.
Mm.
And I also do some more harsh vocals on this album than what I've done before. So it seems like I've gone down some paths that were a bit foreign for us, but exciting.
You are developing as artists. You've learned new things. Ultimately, it would be disappointing if you were sitting still and just basically doing the same album twice.
Yes, exactly. That wouldn't feel fulfilling. So yeah, that would just like not make sense. It's too much hard work to like spend that hard work on something that's not satisfying. So
You mentioned talking about Satisfying now. Obviously, you mentioned him already, but let's just dive a little bit more into it. Of course, you do have a guest vocalist on Cannibal, an incredible track. It is, of course, Anders of In Flames fame. An amazing track, an amazing vocalist that you're teaming up with. How did that collaboration come about?
well, we met him for the first time in Los Angeles when we toured the United States in 2023, and like we had arranged that we would meet him and Bjorn from In Flames backstage before the gig. And of course, we were very excited because we're In Flames fans. So meeting them was huge, and finding out that they were big VOLA fans was like even bigger. So I'm pretty sure I played that gig with like 10% or maybe yeah 10% more focus. Uh, um, than usual, just because I knew they were in the audience.
Yeah.
Um, and I always try to focus. So, um, so that was amazing. And when we got home from that tour, we really began recording "Friend of a Phantom." And I had done some screams on the Cannibal demo, but we talked about that it could benefit from those kinds of screams that Anders can create.
Mm.
And like we like it didn't take long for us to realize that we had to get him as a guest for the song. Like he was one of the first names that came up when we began discussing whether it would be a good idea and who we should try to contact. And yeah, having just established that connection in Los Angeles, it felt easy to write him, and like he quickly wrote back that he was up for it and recorded the tracks in Sweden and flew to Denmark to film the music video with us. So yeah, quite a surreal experience to suddenly be hanging out with one of your heroes and also have him on a track alongside your own vocals. So yeah, amazing.
It is an amazing track. I love the videos. I love the fact that you got to do the video as well. That's extra special.
Yeah, that definitely felt good to have him there. It's yeah, like it sort of reflects the live performance, the video. So having him there felt crucial, and I'm glad he was up for it.
Yeah. Um, You talked earlier on about absolutely loving the writing process more than anything else, particularly from a creative position. Obviously, another area that kind of involves creativity post writing is things like making music videos and doing and like working on art and stuff like that. Do you get much satisfaction out of that side of things?
Yeah, some of it. Like I really love finding artwork for albums, for example, because it feels like sort of the icing on the cake. Like you have the music, but you need that final visual representation
Mm.
to make all the pieces fall into place. And the way we do it is to basically search for images online, and then when we find something we like, we ask if we can buy the rights for it. So we've never had, at least not for our albums, had anyone make something specific for us. So that's yeah, that's a fun process, I think.
Oh, so
Um,
you're looking
yeah,
and you're finding something that just fits. Just you look, you see it, and you feel it fits what you're doing.
yeah,
Mm.
yeah, exactly. And then we basically only just add our band logo and album title. Um, so yeah, it just feels like the easiest way for us, at least, to find something that speaks to us and then see if we can obtain it.
Yeah, I love that. Does that take a while, though? I'd imagine sometimes that can take a while to kind of find something that resonates with you.
Yeah, it does. Lots of time browsing Instagram, for example. Um, and then like if when we find something we like, we can't be sure that we can like buy the rights for it. So like there's another obstacle there. But yeah, we've managed for several albums now. So
Yeah, and of course, the artwork for this latest album looks fantastic as well.
glad you like it.
What would success for this album look like for you?
Well, we've been in this business for some years now, and I think I've really come to enjoy that it's like it goes in the right direction. Like we play bigger venues every time we go on a new tour. Uh, we have more listeners on streaming services and more people buying our stuff. Um, so like I appreciate this like this climb upwards.
Yeah.
Um, and I just want that to continue. And I dream of going far, definitely. So like saying anything else would be lying to myself. Like I would love to that if VOLA became a big band, but I also just enjoy the journey there and like accept that it's like steady and not with too many um like viral things happening along the way. It's just been organic and steady for a long time for us, and like I accept that like that, and I appreciate it.
As you say, it might be a little slow, but it is an upward trajectory. That is the most important thing.
Yes, exactly.
And that's only going to continue on the basis of this new album as well. And finally, before I let you go, obviously at the end of November, you are playing shows in the UK, where I currently am, starting in London, where I currently am, and ending in Bristol with stops in Nottingham and Glasgow too. Simply put this one, what do you want from the UK crowds at those shows to make sure you go back home satisfied?
They should bring their friends and everyone they know that would possibly like VOLA, so we can like get a huge um, like a big energetic thing happening in those at those venues. But like the UK is always great, and I'm not just pandering now. It's like it's been an important place for us. We've played there many times, and I just love the way that the audience reacts over there. So yeah, I hope many people will be there, but they should just be themselves, because that's usually good enough.
I love it. But we will not complain if all the venues are sold out and it's a rabid, hungry, sweaty crowd, because of that's what we want to see. And it continues your very busy end of the year. And just to remind everybody, November 1st via Mascot Records, it is Friend of a Phantom, a truly phenomenal piece of work. And dare I say, whisper it, the best thing VOLA has put out to date. But that's just my opinion, of
Oh,
course.
thank
That's
you.
it. Thank you. And thank you for taking the time to do this. I really appreciate it.
Likewise, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for taking the time.
Thank you very much for watching. If you'd like to see more content like this, please consider hitting the subscribe button. It is gratefully appreciated. You can find us over at gbhbl.com, our full website, where reviews, news, and so much more goes up daily. We're also on all social media platforms: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Threads, at GBHBL. Just search for GBHBL and you will find us out there. We also have merchandise on sale. You can access the shop via the website.